10 o'clock or 10:30 so that we can go out for breakfast, then be able to come back and continue with presentation and the offering. So over to you, Mr. Felipe. Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah. Hey, Alex. Thank you for the patience. Can you hear me, everyone? Yes. I think yes. Nice. Sure. So thank you. And today I would like to invite you to think more about this word like PAN, privileged access management. Actually, sometimes we can think this word can be maybe a famous buzzword, but I would like to invite you to think more about that. Is it future or is a new mindset or new methodology? So during this conversation, I'd like to stay with me and to think more about that, right? So let me share my screen here with you. And by the way, if you have any questions, so please, you can interrupt me, no worries about that. And because my idea here is to talk more about that, okay? So this is my contact on Twitter, and here we have more contacts about me. We have my GitHub here if you'd like to see more projects that I've been working, my LinkedIn here. And I have here my webpage with some talks that I've been doing, some events. And I have an article there, so some information about me. So let me introduce myself. Now I'm a principal security engineer at Talkdesk. It's a company from Portugal, responsible to create a contact center as a service, a product. And I'm security research at senhasegura. As Alex mentioned, senhasegura it's a global security company responsible to deliver not only privileged access management, but to deliver a safe authentication process, right, in your organizations, in your company, in your business, okay? And I'm advocate of this awesome project. Hack is not a crime. It's awesome project that we are talking about the hacking, this concept, right? Because the hacking, it's a mindset. It's how you can looking for something in the technology and how you can active your creative mind in this way, right? So it's not a theft of identity or exploitation. When this thing happen, it's happened with a cyber threat. It's a threat actors or attackers, not a hacking. Hacking is really not a crime, okay? And I'm a coordinator of the staff team here in São Paulo of the DEFCON groups, and an instructor of the HackerSec. It's a Brazilian company, and I have a course of the malware analysis in Portuguese language there. And I'm instructor of the Pentest Magazine and Hack9 and A Forensic Magazine, these 3 magazines in Europe, right? So when I have a course of the malware hunting in Pentest Magazine, by the way, just informations about me, okay? So this is our agenda about these conversations. First of all, I'd like to put in all those people on the same page. So just to explain more about what is a threat or how we can identify this kind of topic, I will explain just a few concepts about what is exactly PAN. I would like to bring you some principles about this concept called zero trust and how you can put in the privileged access management inside of that. And I would like to bring some brainstorm just to think about that, right? And I'd like to invite you to think with me and to suggest you some architecture, or maybe you, again, to bring you with me and to think more about that, okay? So first of all, I would like to do this question: what is a threat? It's a simple question. It is, and this, according to this ISO, it's not definition from Felipe or senhasegura or other people. It's this definition. It's about this ISO, okay? So it's a potential cause of the incident makers or to the system or organization. It's a simple definition, but in what way, Felipe? It's a software attack, maybe, or maybe it's a theft of intellectual property or identity theft or sabotage or information distortion. All those examples are information security threats. And if you see more deeply about that, so you can see that all those things is related to a software, right? So when you have something, when you have some company and you have some organization, so if you think about that, all those applications that you have inside of this organization, or if you create a new organization, for example, if you build this new organization in a cloud native, for example, all those things related to a software. So I mean, in the end of the day, all those things is related to a software attack. So because of this, we need to protect more deeply about how can access these informations when you have some applications, okay? So there's a simple definitions about that. So Felipe, what is exactly PAN? It's a simple definition again. Usually this use it to designate special access or abilities above and beyond that of the standard user. So when you have some user in your organization, you need to define what is the best access they need to have to access some applications or some systems or some special thing inside of the infrastructure, okay? So we need to centralize the access management with the purpose of the protecting and controlling the use of the generic and high privilege credentials. This is the most important here, because nowadays we have many different teams inside our organization, right? So we have a developer team, we have a database teams, we have an application teams. We don't have only more administration IT guys. We have more than one guy. So mainly when you building a new companies in the cloud native, for example, or like startups, you started in a cloud. So you need to deliver the same access in the different teams. So we need to looking more deeply in this topic specifically called privileged access from these users, okay? So providing the security store or access segregations or full traceability of use. I mean, we need to see more deeply around your different teams, okay? So what is zero trust? What you can combine both of them, the PAN, privileged access management, and zero trust. So the idea behind of zero trust is simple definition from my perspective, and of course, it's when you talk about the enterprise companies or maybe a small company, no worries about that. So shouldn't trust in anything. It's a simple definition of the zero trust. Either users or machine or assets or communications, even those inside the corporate network. Because in the past, when you talk about the cybersecurity, we're looking more about the outsiders, right, to the company. So who is the people try to explore my company? So we protect the perimeter, like using a WAF, a web application firewall or firewall, but the looking it's more outside the company. But now and nowadays, we need to look more deeply, more in not only outside, but inside. If you read for the news, for example, we can see more different attacks using this kind of insider within the company, within the organization. So because of this, we need to looking more for this view, okay, more inside of the network, inside of the corporate network. Yesterday, I received a call from a lady here in Brazil. By the way, I'm talking from Brazil now, and I received a call for this this lady, and she asked me, Felipe, I am suspect that I'm receiving some attack in my corporate network, and I asked her what kind of business that you have, and she's responsible to sell some apartment building and houses, and she was suspecting that she was suffering some attacks, right? And she didn't find what is exactly the place that they are attacking inside of the company, right? So because of this, we need to look in more inside of this concept, zero trust, okay? So I would like to invite you now think about this kind of principles that we talk about the zero trust. Remember, zero trust is a kind of culture that you can implement in your organization. But of course, when you need to implement in this kind of concept, we need to look in how is exactly the context that you can apply the policies from this culture. And I will explain during our conversation. Okay, so the first principles, by the way, this awesome project is from UK. So I have a reference here I can share with you after this conversation. But it's a good project to think more about that, right? So the first principle is know your architecture. It's pretty important you understand that. Why? Because when you know your architecture, including mainly users and devices and services, you can see and you can define what the best way you can apply your policies, your restrictions, or even your privileged access management or least privileged access management, and these users are devices and services. Okay, another principle is create a single strong user identity. It's one of the most important kind of contacts that you can apply, because remember, in the past, we just need to have the access to the administration IT guy. But now we need to have the more different access, right, in different teams. So we need to define the single strong user identity. Like maybe many times some organizations should use in a single user directly and create accounts that are linked to individuals. So we need to define what is exactly the stronger user identity. Another is create a strong device identity. Take a look back. Of course, it depends on your business, because sometimes we have an user identity. We need to manage the devices identity, or need to manage the services and applications. So we need to understand that, because of one of the main principles is know your architecture, know your business, because many times we need to have this challenge. Even you are, for example, if you are a board member or a C-level member, many times we need to look more about the strategy in the business, right? But it's pretty important to understand how your business works from the perspective of the architecture, when you need to look more about the cybersecurity, right? So it's very, very important. And each device owned by your organization should be uniquely identifiable, because it's more easier to track or to investigate if some incident happened. Okay, so it's more important that. So this is the reference of the project, and if you can read after this conversation. Okay, another principle is authenticate everywhere. It's very important. One of the main concept here when you talk about the privileged access management inside of the zero trust culture, you need to authenticate everywhere. In a zero trust architecture, assume the network is hostile, okay? Authenticate all connections. It's very important, because in this way you can track, you can see about authentications. If you need to investigate more about that, you have this in your organizations, okay? Know the health of your device and services. So if you see here, we have a users, we have devices, even we have a services. So it's very important you understand about the health of devices and servers, and how you have this in your environment, mainly to gain the confidence in this authentications in your organization. Because of this, it's very important, and it's very important principle here. So focus your monitoring on devices and services. One more time, if you see here that these two principles, it's focus and how you can track some possible incident. Remember what is a threat, an incident calls. Remember when I explained in the beginning of our conversation. So we need to look in more about the monitoring or the action of the monitoring. How you can monitor all those authentications, because we need to have not only audit logs from the access, but you need to see, remember, authenticate everywhere. We need to see more about the devices, because you have the user inside the devices to connect in some applications and using the service inside of this device. Because of this, it's very important you understand that. So given that devices and services are more exposed to the network attack, right? So in the traditional architecture, for example, usually the people use the VPN, okay, virtual private network. But for the attacker perspective, the attacker just need to infect that the users. For example, let's suppose that I'm here in Brazil and I have my company in Nigeria, and from the attacker perspective, they need to attack myself. And if you have the access, if the attacker gain the access in my environment, and I have the virtual network, okay, the VPN, the virtual private network, the VPN access my organization in Nigeria, with the attack perspective, they just need to infect me, and after that, then they have the access inside of my organizations, okay? Because the VPN allow my access inside of my organization. That's my point here. But when you have the privileged access management perspective, or the least privileged access management, take a look at when the attacker gain the access from my users, for example, I just have some permissioning access and some specifically applications and some specifically service inside of my network. So not only my network, but in the applications. So to apply that, you need to have the context. And I will explain more about that in our conversation, but that's the difference when you think about the VPN. And of course, you can use a VPN for something, but when you need to grow your security sensor and how you can improve your protecting your organization, you need to look more about this concept called privileged access management, right? So it's not a buzzword. So you need to understand that, of course, it's my opinion. I don't know if it's correct or not, but my suggestion to you is think more about that. So how you can, using the privileged access management and identity access management, within this culture called zero trust, okay? And of course, you need to monitor everything, okay? The seventh principle is set policies according to the value of the services or data, because in the end of the day, this is more like a precious, okay? It's a good word, but when the attacker try to explore some organization, the idea is to collect some data or to explore some services. So we need to set the policies according to the value about that, okay? So the power of the architecture, when you talk about the zero trust, it's from about these policies you define, because remember this word context. We need to use in the context. And this context, it's very important to apply and inside of the policies. When you define the policies, you need to have the context. So based on this context, you can apply the policies, okay? That's very important. So control the access to your services and data, because you can track that, okay? So each request to a services or application should be authorized against the policies, okay? So that's very important. And don't trust the network, including the local network. So we have many different attacks in the local network, like, for example, ARP spoofing or another kind of DNS spoofing. Depends, of course, how you can implement this kind of technology, but don't trust the network. Remember when you talk about the insiders. So nowadays we have many insiders in some organizations. So in order to remove the trust from the network, you need to build the trust into devices and the services. Remember, not only to the outsider or the attackers from outside the network. And of course, we need to implement in the perimeter protections, okay? But nowadays, we need to look more deeply inside of our network. So because of this, the privileged access management arrived to us, and how we can apply this kind of technology in our organizations, okay? And chose services designed for zero trust. Because of course, when you apply this zero trust using a privileged access management in one of this way, using in this context, you have the intelligence behind of this kind of company, right? So because of this, we need to look more about that. Okay, so have you heard about the least privilege? It's a good word. So in information security, on computer sciences or other fields, the principle of the least privilege, it's very, very important, because you can give more restricts of the access to the users and the devices and servers. So it's very important you understand about this least privilege, okay? So it requires that a particular abstraction layer of the computer environment. Every module, such as a process and users or a programming, right? So, or it's the point here. So I Flip has in some applications. It's just a writer or a reader, or they can move some files, or they can change in some services, they can change in some applications. So we need to see more about the least privilege, because how many least privilege you give your users or your services, more is safe your environment, okay? So this is the simple concept. Let me think now about I would like to bring some brainstorm about that. So today we have an insider threat, right? So who is exactly the insider threat? So nowadays in the deep web, you can see in more, not only deep web, you can see in some forums by the internet, some threat actors to try to talk with the people and to try pay for this insider threat services, right? And in the past, with privileged access, it's just from admin IT administration IT guide or team, and the C-level access, we need to give the C-level access sometimes because they need to access in some applications, and this kind of people, or it's a part of the board member. They need to have the important access, okay? And about work from home, not only in the pandemic, but now we have many remote workers, okay? And we have a cloud access. So how we can manage this kind of access? So what would be the risk impact exactly when we talk about the explorations or the exploitation from our organizations? So we need to think more about that. So we have this kind of challenge to delivery in our organization. So how we can protect our environment against insider threats, privileged access, C-level board again, and the work from home, cloud access, and so on and so on, right? So now, how this works in nowadays, so how we can protect that, okay? So we have the developer teams, as I mentioned. So this kind of team needs to access in many different applications or apps. We have the DevOps team responsible to build the architecture, right? We have, for example, now infrastructure as a code. We have the guys developing this infrastructure. So access many systems, providing many environments. So how we can protect this team? And we have a database team responsible to deliver this infrastructure to the developer team or to the DevOps team. So these three different teams works together. So how we can protect this team, right? Remember, we need to deliver this access from these different teams. So take a look at that. It's not just only administration team guys, okay? We need to deliver more different access. So how we can protect that? That's the point here. So if you see the last attacks in the news, so it's not only more the attacker perspective to see the administration guy. They're looking to the developer team, the DevOps team, the database team, the cloud team, because they have the access, the privileged access, right? Because they need this privileged access. So how you can improve the security from these teams, that's the point here. And leaders of the business units. So we have many teams inside of the network, and you need to deliver the access from these teams and how you can, improve the security now. This is a good point to think about that. And let's think together with me. So we have a privileged access management as a traditional and being categorized under the umbrella of the identity and access management. So in the past, we started to hear about the IAM, okay, and identity access management. But you have a privileged access management now. So identity access management is involved in until recently conventional approach that you need to resolve or revolve around the user and digital identifiers, and how you can manage the email address, devices, or the birth or passwords for verifications. Okay, you need to define these in kind of policies, and based on this identity and access management, you can deliver the access. But how you can manage these policies and using a privileged access management, because again, the Felipe Pires, the username, and they have, for example, email address, Felipe Pires at FelipePires, for example.com, and how I can define this privileged access from these specific users. And this is how you can use it in the PAN, the privileged access management. So in our increasingly cloud oriented digital environment, as I mentioned, and you need to apply more than just a username and password. We need to provide in the policies and this name called context. So how you can use this in your cloud environment or in your virtualization environment. It depends of your environment, but it's not depending actually. It not depends of your environment. You need to apply the least privilege in whatever, no matter environment that you have in your organizations, okay? And for this reason, identity access management and privileged access management is a best practice have involved inside of this zero trust concept, because you can prioritize the security value of the credentials, okay, and the accounts, the object, and it's this called an account, and the security access to the privileged data and system infrastructures, applications, and and the services. Okay, so how you can manage this. It's very important. This dynamic now holds true and for all users and scenarios and any operations eventually. So remember about the principles. You will see more deeply about all those authentications process in your environment, not just to see about the account of the users, the object, but you will see about the targets like a data, a system, a services, and an infrastructure and application. So many different characteristics. Okay, so let me bring you some architectures brainstorm just to think more about that. Okay, so here's some ideas, and here is the explanation about the context. As I mentioned sometimes during our conversation, you have in one side, you have the users and employees and partners and customers, and maybe you have a third parts here too. And based on this users, you need to give the access from this user, from this perspective, okay? And based on this users, you can give the context. You have a protocol like a TCP, like a SMTP, like HTTPS or another different protocols. You have the credentials. Remember, it's responsible for IAM, okay, identity access management. This is a part of the informations when you talk about the culture of the zero trust. Remember that, okay? We have the context with the network. For example, I have networks different based on, for example, in a private network or public network, or some network based on class A, class B, class C, and so on, okay? Devices, if you're using and using your personal device, for example, when you need to access some applications in your devices, in your mobile, for example, or using the email or another different apps, and based on the locations here. For example, I'm here in Brazil, and you don't have, for example, let's suppose that you don't have any different or any business with Brazil. So why you need to give the access from some guys in Brazil? You can imagine that. So you can restrict this access from based on the locations if you don't have any business with this country, okay? So this is the kind of context that you can use in a privileged access management. Actually, you will define a privileged access management, but you can use in this context to apply the culture of the zero trust, okay? So this is the point here. So this is a context important that you need to define to apply that, okay? And for the other hand, you have the policies. This is the responsible to manage that, okay? Using a privileged access management. And after you validate the context and the policies based on that, you can deliver access to this resource like cloud, like perimeter, or on-premise environment. So as you can see here, you have a different environment, okay? Not only cloud, but you can use this in your on-premise, using the virtualization technology or something like that, okay? So remember, this is a simple, and for me, it's a good value here. You need to understand the context in your organization. Because of this, the first principle is know your architecture, because based on that, you can define your context, okay? Know your business, and you need to define the policies behavior based on a privileged access management. You will use the credential based on identity access management, and after that you can set the least privileged access here in policy behavior, and after that you can deliver this access from this resource. You see that you have many gateways here to block the access, the tentative of the attacker from the threat actor. You can see the difference when you just looking from the VPN, from virtual private network. When you have the virtual private network, you give the access directly on this environment, okay? So of course you can set some policies in a VPN based on some access to some people, but the main point here is the user will have the access in some network. So the attacker, if explore these users, they will have the access inside of this network, in all those applications that you have inside this network, and all those access in this infrastructure inside of the network. That is the difference, okay? So here we can see that this data center security tools, it's just Infection Monkey, it's open source security tools, just to see more if you'd like to make some tests in this environment. Infection Monkey, it's open source. Then you have a tool which infect the other machines to propagate to them. Just suggest to some analysts to take some fun things inside of that to explore some in some controlled environment, okay? And you can see more information about, for example, the security reports and zero trust. But the point in this open source tools just to using in some labs, okay? And if you see here the environment, you have the data in the middle, you have the network, people, devices, and workloads. So this kind of cycle of this flow or this vision in these tools. But it's all, again, it's open source just to use it in labs, just suggestion and how you can manipulate, because you can, for example, if you have some analysts, you have the two machines, one attacker machine, another it's a victim machine. You can simulate some attacks, and after that, you can see their behavior. Just to learn, this is not suggest to learn more about that. But when you talk about the enterprise solutions, I suggest, of course, the senhasegura, because you can see more about how privileged access management work, right? So you can deliver some access granted instantly and easily and securely without exposing the device password. Here, it's very, very important. And without the user needs credential to access a PAN, okay, in a privileged access security platform. So, of course, we have here the suggestion for Domo. It's one of the solutions. I'm not, again, a specialist in this technology. I'm a security research. I'm responsible to provide some vision of how the threat works, and mainly how you can protect this environment, right? So how the attacker perspective, because remember, so here we have the internet connections from the users outside the company. You have here the cloud in the gateway, and you have here the corporate network. Remember about the picture of the context, about the policies, about the principles of the zero trust. If you see here, you have the mobile needs to have the access to some emails. We need to have a credentials. We have the third parties needs to access to the environment. So this is very important, how you can deliver the privileged access management from these people, even an employee, even a customer, even a third party access your organization. So here, it's very important how you can bring you the access, okay? Another point is some benefits about this solutions, okay? So instant access and no VPN, no needs for a VPN or additional settings for a remote user. So this is, remember about the VPN. Again, the VPN is very important to access, but for the advanced persistent threat, or when you're looking more about the advanced kind of attacks, we need to see, you need to looking more about the privileged access management, okay? You have a maximum granularity, we need to, remember, we need to deliver some policies, and we need to segregate, because we have different teams, as I mentioned during our conversation, cloud and developer team, DevOps teams, and so on and so on. Okay, now, of course, the best operation, because you need to manage it, all those access in your environment. So how you can manage this, you need to have the good tools to help you in this way, okay? So now I finish here my presentation for you, my conversation with you. And if you have any questions, so I'm totally available to talk with you, I don't know, during these conversations, or you can send them a message by Twitter, by LinkedIn, you know, I am totally available again. And thank you, Alex, and thank you so much for inviting me here. And again, thank you so much. And I hope in the next year or stay in person. It should be nice to meet you guys in Nigeria. And again, if you have any questions, so please let me know.
Okay, thank you, Felipe. It's a pleasure. Hi guys, is there any questions or any areas of clarification that you'd like to ask? Okay, so I think we're all good, because pretty much everybody inside here understands the way privileged access management works and all that. But I'm sure definitely if there's any other areas in which they need clarification, we can always get back to you on that. So thank you very much, Felipe. I think for now we're going to just step out to have a break, to have a breakfast, and this will just last for probably 1 hour. Then once we come back, we'll now take it over with the next speaker. So okay, thank you very much, Felipe.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone.
Let me step out so that we can have. It's just 5 minutes there. Trying to system. I'll do it. When it's really against that. Well, thank you for coming. What do you say of that? I'm surprised I don't know anything. Sorry. I'm Bolaji. I think it was in Bolaji. It was in the CIP organization. You said you like that central banana. And you met before? No, just no, sometimes it's small work, but sometimes you just find out that there's this 1 or 2 degree of separation. I know somebody that we're all connected. Very true, very true. Pleasure to meet you. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Alex.
Yeah, but I think we can begin with the next session. Is David around?
Let me check if David is here. Just a moment. Alex.
Yeah, hi.
Oh, just give us 5 minutes, please. David is connecting.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, man.
Hi, Vinny. Yeah, David's not yet online.
Yes, he reached our office now. He's turning on his computer and connecting.
No problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
just a few minutes ago. Now,
Okay. No.
okay. Thank you, Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
Hello, David.
Fala, Matheus.
Hello, David. Good morning. Hello.
David.
Hello, this is David.
Yeah. Hi, David. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You?
Yeah, we're good. Okay, so before we start the second session, I'd just like to just do a little recap for the new people that we have. So this event is being held by Easy Services and senhasegura. Easy Services is currently the only distributor for the senhasegura portfolio for Nigeria and West Africa. And the theme of this event, as you're well aware, is building of digital sovereignty with senhasegura. So I know most of the organizations already have a privileged access management solution. And for those who don't have, this is just our way of trying to tell you that if you have, when you expire, when your licenses expire, move to senhasegura. And if you're looking at implementing one, also move to senhasegura. So we've done the first session where we had Mr. Felipe Perez, who talked briefly on it. And now we're going to be moving on to the second session, which will be taken by David Muniz. So, Dave, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And oh, I'm not on mute. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you all for attending this session. The topic of the session is going to be trends in the payment market according to Gartner. Okay, so let's move on and get started. My name is David Muniz, and I work for senhasegura since 2017, and now I joined the marketing team, helping them to evaluate other consulting companies like Gartner, KuppingerCole, Forrester in the evaluation process of the product. So our agenda is, first of all, who is Gartner and its relevance to the market. Then we'll see the importance of privileged access management. Then we'll take a look at the trends in the PEM market according to Gartner. Then we'll introduce Gartner's Magic Quadrant report, and we'll take some results that we got on the report, and then we'll sum up with key takeaways. Okay. Well, without further ado, so let's get started. So first of all, who is Gartner? Probably you've heard about them and how they influence IT leaders all across the world. Gartner is a global consulting and market research company that was founded in 1979 and is headquartered in Stamford, Connecticut, the United States. Gartner is a member of the SAP 500, which comprises the 500 biggest company according to SAP. And they have more than 16,000 associates spread over 100 countries. So we can see here that, well, besides other consulting companies like Accenture or McKinsey or others, Gartner not only gives consulting, but they also evaluate IT solutions like senhasegura, for example. Well, those are the areas that Gartner provides insight and consulting. Information technology, finance, HR, customer service and support, communications, legal compliance, marketing, sales, and supply chain. And inside the information technology market, there's the security and risk area, which is one of the areas that Gartner evaluates and studies. And inside this area is where privileged access management is located at. Well, now that we understand the importance of Gartner, we live in the privacy areas. So we see new regulations such as GDPR in Europe, LGPD here in Brazil, also probably in Africa. Lots of countries are working in developing your own data privacy. Also, we've seen in a couple of weeks, Saudi Arabia, China, those are some of the countries that have passed data protection laws. So the governments are acting to protect data from malicious attackers. As we say, data is the new oil. And also, there's an increase of connected devices. We see IoT, we see cloud, we see big data. All of these trends they increase the amount of data that is processed by organizations. And 61% of data breaches involve privileged credentials. So lots of the cyber attacks, they involve the exploitation of privileges in the environment. And when the attack involves privileged credentials, also the overall cost of this attack is much higher than the average. While the average cost of a data breach is $3.86 million, when the cyber attacks involves privileged credentials, this amount raises for $4.77 million. So we can say that those kind of attacks have a severe impact and is more critical than the others and causes more damage, of course. And also, we're living in dates in times of COVID. So, and we've seen the increase of data processing by healthcare organizations. And we can see here that when the data breach involves this kind of industry, healthcare industry, also the cost of a data breach is much higher than the average. It's more than double the average. While the average is 3.86, when this involves healthcare institutions, this amount can reach up to $8.6 million. So it is something to watch. I don't know if the audience, there's people from the healthcare industry, but this is probably something to be aware of. And also, Gartner recognized the importance of implementing the adequate privilege management, and they have chosen PAM for 2 years in a row as the #1 project in information security. And when companies and organizations implement the appropriate privilege access management controls, it's possible to address cybersecurity needs and also reduce associated risks. Well, those risks, they can involve the lack of visibility of the assets that are connected to the infrastructure and also their respective credentials, and of course their privileges. The lack of privilege access management and also the lack of traceability of the actions carried out in the environment. Well, these risks, they are directly related. And we usually say that it is impossible to track what is not managed, and it is impossible to manage what is not known. And we get the importance of have all the appropriate traceability of those assets in the environment. Now in 2021, even though PAM did not appear in the Gartner's top 10 security projects, we can see some areas that are directly related with privileged access management. And I highlighted 2 of them. Well, the first one is securing your remote workflows. So we've seen the shift for remote work since, well, and now potential by COVID. COVID pushed people to work from home, and it is essential to protect all of these workforce working from outside the office, outside the security perimeter, as we usually say. And now that we don't have any, well, we don't, in most organizations, we don't have this perimeter anymore, then we can have, for example, zero trust approaches to address these issues of people working outside of the office. And also passwordless authentication. Well, it's been a challenge for organizations to implement, and I don't know if you've heard, but a couple of weeks ago, Microsoft has launched a passwordless way to authenticating their services. So this is a big challenge for organizations, and also for users that have to remember all of the passwords in the environment. Well, now talking about the privileged access management market. Well, according to Gartner, PAM will continue to witness increased interest and adoption among enterprises of all sizes in the near future. And you can see here in this graphic that the market is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 10.7% from 2020 through 2024. And the market is expected to reach a size of 2.9 billion by 2024, which is a significant increase compared to today. Oops, sorry. Well, some of the PAM market trends that I'd like to bring here. Well, by 2022, 70% of organizations will implement privileged access management practices for all of their use cases in the enterprise, which is a significant increase from 40% today. Another important fact that I'd like to bring here is that by 2022, 90% of organizations will recognize that mitigation of PAN risk is a fundamental security control, which is an increase from 70% of those companies today. And the last figure that I'd like to bring here is that by the same year, by 2022, 60% of organizations, they will realize the business benefits of PAN, higher reliability, and also quicker response to shifting IT environments, which is an increase of from 30% today. And now you understand why companies are realizing and recognizing the importance of PAM today. More market trends that I'd like to bring here is that early adopters, which means the companies that have implemented PAM in the early development, they are now moving to a higher maturity phase of their PAM program. And also they are bringing for vendors new opportunities and for upselling among existing customers. Well, we don't usually see a shift from a company for changing from one vendor to the other, because the effort to implement PAM is really high. So we see companies just upselling products and getting new functionalities from their existing PAM vendors, but it can happen. Here at senhasegura, we've seen some cases that organizations, they have changed from one vendor and they have acquired our solution. But it's not that common. Another trend that I'd like to bring here is that the market growth momentum is shifting from large enterprises to mid-sized enterprises, and even small and mid-sized businesses, as they increasingly realize the criticality of PAM. Well, and this happens especially because companies are getting, not only vendors are shifting to SaaS model, which has a deployment cost lower than on-premises, but also small and medium businesses, they are realizing that if they don't implement the appropriate controls to address PAN issues, they might be a victim of, well, it's not a question of when, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when they will be victim of a cyber attack. But then at least they can mitigate the financial cost, of course, and the reputational cost that a data breach can have in their environment. Well, with the adoption of remote work that it was mostly caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, organizations are shifting to cloud-based model. And I've said before that also vendors are shifting to SaaS and to cloud delivery models as well. And the last fact is that by 2024, 50% of organizations will have implemented just-in-time, that we call GIT, privileged access management model. Well, this kind of model that restricts the privileges in the environment, we can say that, well, according to Gartner, companies that implement GIT models, they can experience 80% fewer privilege breaches than those that don't. So we here can reduce the attack surface and mitigate the risks of a cyber attacks in the organization. Now I'd like to bring the main challenges associated with PAM, still according to Gartner. The first one is that I've mentioned before, PAM implementation can be complex and costly from both a time and a culture perspective. Another fact is that it can be difficult for security and risk management leaders to determine which PAM features are most important to solving their organization's unique PAM risk. And usually, this is something that customers, they sometimes do in the projects. They don't understand all the use cases, and they don't properly evaluate how the PAM solution adheres to their business requirements and also their use cases. So sometimes we have to help the customer to understand exactly what they need according to their information security strategy. The next one, I've mentioned about the discovery and the awareness of devices and assets in the environment. So, and Gartner also recognized this, that the comprehensive discovery and management of all privileged access is a significant challenge for most organizations. It's complicated by new challenges for privileged access coming from the cloud. So we have, as I've mentioned before, we have more devices, more IoT devices, more cloud devices. So to be aware and to have visibility of all these assets is a significant challenge in the privileged access management market. And also not only cloud services, but also IaaS and PaaS as well. And also, well, we don't have to forget DevOps, that can also be a significant source of risk for the company and for development and operations team. And the last one is that some PAM implementations still struggle to fully mitigate all PAM risks in a particular environment, even after several years. So, and I usually say that we have this saying in Portuguese that it is better to have something than have nothing at all. So if you're implementing a PAM program, then you can start with the basic use cases and then move on to the most complex use cases. You don't have to start with monitoring and session recording. We can start just with password view and then move on to the next steps. And this is pretty much what we have here. We have the basic capabilities that are the privilege vaulting, the account discovery, privilege access governance, the session management and recording, and logging and reporting. And now companies that have started with those basic capabilities and basic use cases, they are moving to advanced capabilities like GIT, like AI and machine learning capabilities. Privilege task automation, it is something that is important nowadays. Remote clientless access, and also privilege session auditing. And we've seen in global and large organizations, we're seeing them with emerging needs. We have multi-cloud environments. There's secrets management for the DevOps pipeline, zero standing privileges to reduce the attack surface, and the CI/CD automation as well. So now the small companies are now adopting the basic capabilities, and the early adopters are moving to the most advanced use cases. Well, we already know that implementing PAM is not that easy. So what should security and risk management leaders do to succeed in their PAM programs? Well, first of all, define their unique PAM requirements. This is done by creating an inventory of all PAM use cases by all PAM accounts, not only for people, for users, but also what we call service accounts or machine accounts as well. They should also should be included in the PAM program, as they offer a significant amount of risk, since the accounts sometimes are not monitored, so they also need attention from the security team. The next advice here is that the organization and the IT leaders map all the use cases against PAM functionalities in the market, selecting a vendor shortlist for a proof of concept process and automatically a tool selection. The next one is an advice that we see, you usually see from our clients, is that since PAM involves a large amount of effort and changes the culture in the organizations, it is mandatory to involve people from all the areas that are directly involved with PAM processes, especially IT and security teams. And this is crucial because this involves a change of culture, and it is very important to involve those people, to have also support from them. And the last advice here is to deploy specialized PAM tools. And this is very important because this is Gartner that is saying, it's not me. Manage privileged access risk is virtually impossible without specialized PAM tools. And this is not me saying, this is Gartner saying, this is their specialists. They're saying that without a PAM solution, it's impossible to manage, to properly manage PAM risks. Well, and what is a PAM solution? What does it do? Well, according to Gartner, and we can see here in this diagram, privileged accounts are protected by vaulting their credentials, and the access, you can see here in the diagram that the access to those accounts is brokered for human users, not in services and applications as well. In this case, we also have privileged session management. And the PAM solution, and is speaking about senhasegura here. Senhasegura can act as a proxy to establish sessions with credential injections, and also offering full session recording and sending an alerts, for example, for CM, syslog. In this case, passwords and other credentials for privileged accounts are actively managed, and they are also changed. We can see here that they can be changed by definable intervals or an occurrence of specific events. And we speak here of privileged account and session management. And this kind of solution can also rotate the credentials for service accounts. Inside the PAM market, we can also have a PDM. Well, in this case, specific privileges, they can be granted on the managed system by host-based agents to log in. And PDM tools, they offer a host-based command control and privilege elevation for servers. And they allow particular commands to be run with a higher level of privileges. So you have a normal user, a common user in a machine. So the PDM solution can temporarily elevate the privilege in the environment. You can perform the actions that you need to perform, and then the solution takes your privilege back to where it was. This results on a reduced attack surface and also improve productivity, because then you don't have to open a ticket for installing a software, for example, and it can save you operation costs. The third area that is comprised by PAM is the secrets management solution. And we can see that development teams, they work with a huge range of applications to build, to test, to deploy, to run applications in the environment, not only developed in-house, but also by third party and also open source, to have an idea how DevOps is important, and this could be a whole other topic that we could cover here. Gartner, they estimate that by 2022, 25% of all software development projects, they will adopt DevOps methodologies from the conception through productions. And to have an idea how significant this percentage is today, only 10% of those teams, they adopt DevOps methodologies. Many of those tools that are used in the DevOps pipelines, Chef, Kubernetes, Jenkins, for example, they store a significant amount of credentials in the execution of projects and playbooks as well, and scripts. And all of these projects, playbooks, scripts that are managed by those tools to have access to services and platforms. It is also worth to remember that credentials that are used in the DevOps pipelines, they usually have a high amount of high level of privileges. And when those tools, they are inappropriately used, they can result in a data breach. Malicious attackers can explore credentials in the DevOps pipeline with high privileges without being noted by the security team. And that's crucial, because most data protection legislation and regulation, they require that security teams, they report in within a specific period any data breaches that has occurred in their environment. Oops, next one. Well, now that we have an understanding of which capabilities are associated with PAM, I'd like to introduce the Magic Quadrant report that has been published last July. What are some of the questions that Gartner answers in those reports are, what are the players in the market, how these players are positioned in order to help organizations in the long term. And the MQ report, MQ is the short for Magic Quadrant, and I will use term as well. They are a result of the research that is performed by Gartner, not only with the vendors, but also with their clients as well. And they usually get Gartner Peer Insights as a source of client insight and feedback. I don't know if you're familiar with Gartner Peer Insights, but it is a tool that has been increasingly be used by Gartner in their evaluation process. So Gartner evaluates market positioning in the different markets available globally. Gartner also brings for each one of the vendors 4 strengths and 4 cautions, and they divide the 4 quadrants into they divide the quadrants into 4, the graphic into 4 quadrants. The first one is the leaders that will have, they are evaluated in 2 axes: ability of execute and completeness of vision. Leaders are those that have both axes high. They perform not only their vision, but they are also able to execute, to properly execute their vision. We have the challengers. Challengers are the one who still don't have a broader view of the market, but they are excellent to execute. They are capable to execute those the shiftings in the environments. Visionaries, on the other hand, they have a good vision of the market, but they're not able to properly execute. And then we have the niche players that are the starters and the entrants in the market. Well, according to Gartner's analysts in the MQ report, the past year has seen an intense focus on remote privilege access and secrets management. And besides this, several smaller vendors now have more capable and less expensive offerings than large established PAM vendors. And this is the case of senhasegura. senhasegura has started in the PAM market in 2013. And you will see the results that we are now among, we're fighting against a big and large competitors worldwide. And the last insight that Gartner brings in the report is that PAM is a mature market, and security and risk management leaders should cast their nets wide to look for potential products. And it is important to mention that according to Gartner, the air is getting thinner. And we can see here that the number of vendors in the report has been reduced from 14 in 2018, when the first Magic Quadrant report has been launched. And this number reduced to 12 in 2020. And now in 2021, this number has reached 10. And senhasegura has been placed as a challenger in the report. Some of the topics, then some of the aspects that Gartner consider in the report when evaluating senhasegura. Well, as I've mentioned before, senhasegura is a challenger in this Magic Quadrant. Our PASM product, senhasegura PAM Core, is available as a software or as a service. Our PDM solution for Windows and Linux, that is called senhasegura Go, is available as a software. Secrets management is sold as a software or as a service under the name of DevOps Secrets Management. And also that senhasegura plans to use artificial intelligence for sensitive data analysis in automation and script and source code, and also to add CN, which stands for Cloud Infrastructure Entitlements Management features. And this is something that we've seen an increased adoption in organization, CM. Some competitors call SEM just CEM, Cloud Entitlements Management, other called CM. But well, this is an area that has been to protect all the entitlements in the cloud environment. Well, according to Gartner, our strengths were, the first one is that senhasegura has rapidly improved our capabilities and delivered many new product features over the past year. And now it's not me that is saying that. Gartner is saying that we have one of the most technically advanced PAM solutions. And we can see, I will go back to the previous slide, that we can see here in the axis ability to execute, senhasegura is the second best PAM solution in this aspect. And we have significantly evolved in this aspect from last year, which means that we can rapidly and quickly introduce new capabilities and new functionalities in the market. The next one is that it's not me that is saying this. Gartner is saying that senhasegura is best in class for account discovery. So if you want to have full visibility of the assets and the credentials in your environment, senhasegura is the PAM solution to go. And this addresses the challenges that we have mentioned before, that the visibility and the discovery on onboarding of privileged credentials. And also, we are best in class in privileged task automation. The next one is pricing. Pricing according, senhasegura's pricing according to Gartner is highly competitive, and we were below the average for all evaluated scenarios. So if you want a good cost benefit solution with the highest amount of features, senhasegura is the solution to go. Also, if you want customer satisfaction, senhasegura is the solution to go. We were awarded a customer's choice distinction on Gartner Peer Insights platform. and customers have shared positive feedback about how senhasegura is easy to use, about our user-friendly interface, and also rapid deployment functionalities. And what is the benefit of this for your company and for the companies that use senhasegura? Less deployment costs, less training costs, and less effort to operate and to deploy the tool. And this is not me saying, those are Gartner Peer Insights evaluations in the platform. So we got 4.8 average, 4.8 in the possible out of 5, and we are the PEM solution with the highest percentage for customers' recommendation chance. 97% of our customer recommend senhasegura. Now, we have a good solution with the best functionalities, the best in class account discovery. We have the lowest price for all customer scenarios. We are one of the best solution evaluated by Gartner Peer Insights. Only 2 solutions got the customer's choice distinction, and senhasegura has been one of them among all PEM vendors. In addition to the Magic Quadrant report, this is something that I'll add here, but it's not something that I will present. This is something for another session. But senhasegura also received great scoring in the Critical Capabilities Report, or CC. However, this can be covered in another session. We got second place for PASM and PDM for global enterprises. And not only for them, for mid-size and large enterprises. And also we got second place out of 10 for secrets management. So we are running with global vendors, and we still deliver high quality capabilities in our PEM solution. Well, now that we covered everything in that Gartner, well, the most important topics and the main topics that Gartner covered in their Magic Quadrant report about senhasegura, we bring some key takeaways to wrap up this session. Well, the first one is that cyber threats is a reality. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the company will be victim of a data breach. And we've seen the potential, an increased potential of damage to organization, and not only global organization, small and medium businesses are also affected by cyber threats. And because of their restricted financial capacity, they are more susceptible to go bankrupt, for example, and to go out of businesses. We have a study that say that 60% of small and medium businesses that are victim of a cyber attack, they close their operations within 6 months after a data breach. Privileged credentials are an important attack vector, and they're used by malicious attackers to perform cyber attacks that can cause data breaches. Throughout the world, data privacy laws are increasing, with having sanctions to companies that do not employ efforts to mitigate cybersecurity risks. Data is the new oil. PEM is the main solution to manage privileged access and should be the #1 project for security risk leaders since 2018, according to Gartner. And last but not least, Gartner offers reports dedicated to the PEM market, especially the Magic Quadrant report. And before choosing a PEM solution, it is important and fundamental to evaluate the different technologies available to be sure that not only the solution delivers according to your business requirements, but also if the users adopt and support the implementation of the PEM solution. I invite you all, if you want to take a look at our website, we provide a complimentary copy of the report, so you can take a look of everything that Gartner has to say about senhasegura and also about our competitors and our position in the PAN market. So I'll finish now my presentation, and I'd like to thank you all for attending.
Thank you very much, David. If there are any questions, are there any questions or any particular things that you might want to ask? Okay, David, I think if there's any other clarifications after that, I'll probably pass that across to you. And most of the people that are here are a little bit already aware about how PAM works and all that. So that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we should just probably take maybe like a 10 minutes break so that we can prepare for the next presentation that will come up by 12 o'clock, just to stretch the legs and move out a bit. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll be reconvening by 12 o'clock. Okay. Thank you. Yes. I don't really know. They know what the actual but he said he loves about this picture because mostly look, this is our operation, you understand? Like the big monster. NGO, strictly official NGO. Strictly NGO. And let's have all of them listed, you understand? I can give to them. So start anytime, very soon now they will be clicking one or two of them. Because they have to go load up with them. Because that's all I understand. You just arrange this one. For any time you need to, you want to. You understand? That's no problem. They have it. There's no data. Show. Hi, Vinny. Hello.
Hi, gentlemen. Hi, Alex. How are you?
Yes. It's always a pleasure seeing you.
Same from my side, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we can get the third session going before we get into the crux of the matter, which is demo of the solution. And so, Vinny, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Just try to share this because of something, all right? I would like to know if you can see my screen, first of all, and if it's on presentation mode.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, Alex, thank you very much. Thank you all for joining this webinar together with us. I have only good things to say about Easy Service. We've been together for a couple of months, though. Alex was able to put a lot of traction on that and get a lot of people capable, not only to understand the solution, but to POC and also to deploy it. So he's a very well-known, he's a very value-added distributor that we've got, a good partner. The one thing that I would like to say is that some of the infos that I'm going to be sharing here, unfortunately, was eaten by my partner, David. So they are going to be a little bit redundant. I'm going through it again very quickly, but they're very important. So I'm going to use a little bit of the commercial side of the presentation on that behalf, all right? Senhasegura, even though most of the people that hears this for the first time says, what is senhasegura? And then when they search for it, the second thought is going to be something like, how I never heard about senhasegura. We are in the market for PAM for the last 10 years and in cybersecurity for the last 20. Just for you to have an idea, the oldest cybersecurity player in the market has 12 years, and that's just because they acquired a solution in 2015. So we are a very mature solution. We are over 60 countries. I would say to you that currently we are close to 80. And we are a Brazilian company. And we have over 35% of the marketing in LATAM. All the competitors that you guys have there in Nigeria, that I have there in Nigeria, we also have here in Brazil. So I'm talking about Wallix, Arcon, CyberArk, Beyond Trust, even those Fudo, Managing Engine, those are cheap ones that are not even on the Magic Quadrant. And we have a little bit different than my partner David said. We have 98% recommendation on Gartner Peers Insight. That number is the result of an end user vote recommending us. So only if you have acquired the solution and you can prove it, and you have a revenue over $50 million, you can vote. And that's where we got that rate. As it was already raised, we are the second best solution in the market on ability to execute. What was missing for us, this quadrant was prepared in the beginning of 2021 and released in July 2021. By that time, if we had the amount of partners that we currently have, we would probably be much more closer to be leaders than we are. But this is a plan that we have for the next 2 or 3 maximum years to be leaders in the Magic Quadrant. As David has mentioned, I would like to raise that again. Beside the customer first choice that we were elected, we also were awarded as a customer first. We got a badge of customer first. This is the result of some work that we have been doing strategically inside to have a solution that doesn't make money with service. As you are aware, our representative in Nigeria and Africa, we have several partners as well, but we don't have a physical presence from senhasegura itself in Africa. So we have to have a solution that works alone, that doesn't cause disruption. So our strategy was always to make as simple as possible and as stable as possible. So beside our competitors, for example, CyberArk, that is the unique one that's a little bit ahead of us regarding to ability to execute. They charge, their revenue is 50% based on services, and we don't make money on that. This is the Gartner Peers Insight results, okay? So we are the customer first choice since 2018, and we got 98% recommendation, as you can see. If you see the others, for example, the leader, CyberArk, they have 83. They are considered the most complex solution, not only to deploy, but to deploy, to use, to configure. Even the high availability from them is very complex. So from all the aspects, we try to be as simple as possible. This is free and available information. The link to connect and to get that is on the top of the presentation that Alex can share with you after that. We were also this year, recently, it was 3 weeks ago, chosen as leaders on the complex from Cupping & Co. Okay, so another very good award that we've got, showing again that we are on the top of the scale. Talking about segments, we are across every single segment, from small, mid-size to enterprise companies over to $30 billion, and all of those we have 5 stars. This is our portfolio that was raised. So we have PAM, that is our main business, and everything that we have is inside our vault. So our VPN-less solution that was raised, our PDM, certificate lifecycle management and automatic renew, as well our DevSecOps, which is the best in class considering it's integrated to the vault. Okay. This is how our screen looks like. So Daniel, our tech guy, is going to show you a little bit about it. So we're going to have a short demo after my presentation, but as you can see, everything is here. So PAM is here, certificate lifecycle management, DSM is our DevSecOps, Domo is our VPN-less, Go is our PDM, also application to application, which is best in class, as well automatic task manager, also best in class. They are free of charge features included in our PAM. This is one of the advantages that we don't charge for that. So how does it work, right? Just for you to understand, we are easy even from the deployment. So a unique OVA appliance is sent to you guys, you click on it, you send to us the key, the activation code, and we're gonna activate that and send to you the activation password. After that, we just have to do the rollout. A normally rollout would take something from 3 to 4 hours, okay? Our discovery mode is the best in class. Licensing models was already mentioned. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about PAM, but all the others are also gonna be available for you to check in the presentation. So our PAM, we still sell perpetual licenses, okay? For that, we charge per year 25% of the total cost, even though we also have subscription and SaaS. Another advantage of our solution, besides the application to application mode and automatic task manager, we have unlimited number of credentials and devices. We do not charge by that. We only charge the number of users. And we also deliver one free of charge high availability node. We have also available disaster recovery. We work active or active passive. We have a load balancer, but we won't charge you the first high availability. So another commercial positive point of view. Our main differentials, right? So we are turnkey solution. We do not require any other license. It's a completely agentless solution. We are the easiest to adopt, fastest deploy in the market, as Davi has mentioned, just raised it up. Since we are not a large institution, we have like 140 employees. We have a very flexible and agile dev team. So we are capable to deploy and to develop new requirements very quickly. Regarding to architecture, we require normally 25% of the required architecture of our main competitors. We are Linux based, so it makes very easy and very reduced. This is our global presence and verticals. So just for you see, we are, most of the map also in North Africa has to be painted out. But as you can see, we are split all over the world. This is pretty much what it is. I would say to you that if you find interesting, we can manage together with Alex from Easy Service. We can schedule a one-to-one call. It will never take more than 1 hour. We can understand your environment. What can we do to help you out and show through our product how that can be done. So we are open to do it. We jump in together to support and to show engagement. I am the commercial responsible, so I am the key contact, even though from you, if you move on a partnership, on an agreement, and if you acquire the solution, I'm going to still be the contact for that. I think that's it. Okay. I'm now gonna be handling the control to them.
Okay, hello everyone. So let me share my screen here. My name is Daniel. I am the sales engineer here, and I will run with you a quick presentation about our solution. So feel free to write your questions on the chat, or even raise your hands if you have some question about some kind of functionalities. I will be glad to explain a little bit more for you. Okay, can you see my screen, guys?
Not yet.
Okay. What about now? Are you seeing my screen or not?
Gentlemen, can you see the screen?
Okay, I will assume that they are. Okay, first of all, this is our main screen here where you can insert your login and password. I would like to remember that we are able to integrate with any kind of external authorities to authenticate, like LDAP technologies, SAML technologies, or even SailPoint. Our multi-factor authentication method is out of the box, so you don't need to pay any extra charges or install any kind of other software to provide this. Like Vinny said, we are a turnkey solution, and everything is integrated inside just one OVA and one panel here. Our PAM solution, like Vinny said, is not just like a vault. So we have the vault and the PASM technology. So we are able to deal with any kind of credential that belongs to your environment, like Unix-based systems, RDP, any kind of database, or even network device. But we are a vault too. So any kind of operations like retrieve a password, rotate passwords, or inject passwords, we are capable to do using our PAM module. The app-to-app, like Vinny said, is our machine-to-machine application. You will be able to integrate with any other application using REST API here, or even manage the vault, like create new credentials or new users using our API. So it will enable you to integrate our solution with any kind of other EIM or IGA technology to manage credentials. A key differential about us is that we have embedded in the solution the certificates management module. We are the only one PAM technology in the market that has these integrated. And with the certificate management module, you will be able to control the entire life cycle of a certificate in your environment. So you will be able to control the expiration, but you will be able to sign new certificates or create new requests of certificates, renew them, and even publish those certificates inside your website using technologies like IIS or Nginx, Apache, or even F5 Big IP, Citrix, and other published technologies. Our task manager module was considered by Gartner on the last report as the best in market. So it not replaces a control M technology, for example, but you will be able to automate any kind of recurrent scripts or actions that you have in your environment. So for example, if you have some analyst that every day needs to log inside a computer and run a command or even copy a file from a folder to another folder, you can create scripts using PowerShell, CMD, or any kind of other language here, like your own software language, like Cisco iOS or any kind of other network environment, to automate those tasks, giving the access to those tasks to the end user to run it manually or even scheduling those activities. Our DSM module was considered by Gartner on the last report as the best in class too. We are the second in the category, but when we are talking about PAM tools integrated with secrets management, we are the best in class. The other one that is above of ours solution is HashiCorp, but they are not a vault. So almost all the operations about rotate secrets, provisioning, and provisioning, they are not capable to do. Our cloud IAM will be able to manage all the entitlements regarding cloud environments like AWS, Google Cloud Platform, or Azure AD. The information module is a personal vault that will enable you to manage your personal credentials, for example, your bank account or any kind of other attachment like PDF that contains serial keys of your applications or other things. You will be able to control it. You will be the only one that will have access to that information, but you can share with other colleagues or the guys in your department. You can create different access groups here to split permissions. Our PDM is senhasegura Go. We will enable you to elevate and delegate privileges inside target devices like desktops or servers without need to grant that administrative privileges to the local users or end users. Our scan discovery module will enable you to discover all the credentials, devices, database credentials, machines inside Kubernetes, inside your environment, and using templates onboard these to your solution, and you will always will have your environment updated. At least, but not less important, we have Domo. Domo is a VPN-less way to give access to your environment externally to your employees or even third partners without needing to install any kind of software, because we have zero trust technology based here. This service is provided using our SaaS environment, and you will be able to give this access without need to configure or have the high costs related to VPNs. All right. Directly now to the solution here. This is the desktop. So this is the main screen of an end user. They will be able to start sessions from here, view passwords, or even manage their own users here. They will be able to change his own password or even change the token that they use to log in on the application. This user here that I'm running specifically right now is a high elevated privilege user, but we can have different profiles here on the software that will allow you to split permissions about the access on the solution. We have almost 900 different options here, so we are very granular. A key differential about us when we are talking about start sessions or even retrieve passwords is that we can force the multi-factor authentication not only when we are logging on the solution, but when we are trying to have access to some kind of device or even password here too. I just need to inform my token, and then I will be able to do these vault operations here. So as you can see, we can view the password. We have a contrast bar here to prevent others to see your screen. We can copy the password straight to the clipboard without need to view the password, or even use this screen to open the phonetic alphabet. And this screen will be closed after some seconds for security reasons. But if you have a user that you must ask for a justification or a reason to view passwords or start sessions, we are able to do it too. Let me log in with a non-elevated privilege user here. Okay, let me inform the token again. All right, like you can see, this user has less privileges, so he will not have access to all the functionalities on the vault. And if they try to, for example, retrieve a password here, he will need to justify why he's trying to do this. So this is just a demo. He must define choose a predefined reason here. And we can integrate with ticket solutions, any kind of ITSM solution like Jira or ServiceNow to grant this type of control. We can justify here. And it will start a workflow process that will send emails to the approvers that will allow this user or not to access this. But obviously, we can select some specific users that will be able to use an emergency access, something like break the glass, to be able to bypass the workflow process and has access to the password without need to wait. So it's a test. And I will use my emergency access here. Okay, so I have access right now to this password without needing to wait until the workflow process be completed. The approvers will receive an email saying that someone used the emergency access and when to access what credential, and like you saw, the end user must justify, so the approvers will going to receive the reason to. Okay, let me come back to my high elevated user. Inform my token again. Okay, perfect, guys. So another key differential about our solution is that the way that we start sessions is the fastest on the market. So think that other competitors like CyberArk, for example, if you want to start a session using the Vault, you must every time to download a file that will connect to the using RDP to that server, and then we will start a connection to the target device. Using senhasegura, as you saw, in 5 seconds, you will be able to start a session and it will just open another tab in your web browser. So right now, as you can see, we are already logged in on the solution and it's quite fast. Even if you are using this over the internet, like I'm doing here, it's very fast. If you are using it on premises, for example, inside your own environment, it will be as fast or more fast than this. Okay, so like we are acting like a proxy here, we are able to block commands, for example. And another key differential is that we count with a radar here to see all the session that's occurring. So you will have this graph that will show as dots all the connections that you have in your environment right now. If you click on this little green dot here, you're going to see my session that is rolling right now. And we are able to live view that sessions without lost any kind of performance here. Okay, on the left side, you are seeing the live session, and on the left side, you are seeing the terminal. So if I type any kind of command, you will be able to see it immediately on the other session. Like I said, like we are acting like a proxy here, we will be able to block commands. So if this user tries to list the content of this folder, the command will be blocked, and almost immediately it will change the risk of my connection. Okay, from green it turned to yellow, because there is a risk, medium risk related to that session. But if I type the command to change my own password, I will be automatically disconnected from the session because this was a forbidden command. And if I consult the historic, I will be able to see a red connection. And why? Because I tried to change my password, and it was a forbidden command with a high risk related to it. Okay, we can do the same start as equal as I did right now. RDP connections, not only SSH. I just have to choose one credential here, click, and you will receive access to the session as fast as the other. You are able to do everything here. You are able to copy and paste transfer files, everything here, and as fast as any RDP in local connections. Everything that you are seeing here is being recorded, even the keystrokes. So just after we finish the session, if we click in remote sessions, you will be able to reproduce the session, no matter if we are talking about SSH or RDP sessions. We have an embedded web player here, so you don't need to install any kind of agent, any kind of plugin. You don't need to download the file. You don't need to have any specific web player inside your computer. You will be able to see it on your browser without needing to install anything here. Okay? But not only this, you will be able to see any kind of command that were typed on that session, and even search for a specific term, and then it will be highlighted on the list here. As you can see here, our record is quite small. 1 minute, we will have something about 1 megabyte per minute, because we are not saving this like a video file in our environment. This is just like a hash. So this is lighter than the other technologies. We can do the same for web environments. So if we need to automate some kind of web connections here, we are able. And the end user will not need to interact with the web page or something like that. He will receive the page already logged in, and as equal as the other sessions, everything here will be recorded. The video file, all the single clicks will be recorded. But if you have your hard users that are used to log in using mobile extern or even Microsoft remote session to access their environment, you are still able to let them do it. We just have to connect to the senhasegura server using the port 22, inform your username here. Let me check out my own password because I don't have it on my mind, using my personal vault here. Copy my password. And I will paste it here. I'm able to type, oh, let me inform my token, first of all. Okay. I'm able to list the content, so I will see all the credentials that I have access. I just need to type SSH, choose the credential that I'm gonna use, and the server that I want to connect. Oh, SSH, not SHH. Root at route. And you're gonna connect to the target device without need to interact with our web interface, and everything will be as fast as if you are using your interface. The same for RDP connections. As equal as the other, we have to inform my username, my password, the device that I want to connect, and the credential that I want to use. I will need to inform my token again, just to ensure that I am the one that is trying to access this. And everything will be recorded here, all the keystrokes, all the sessions. You will not lose any kind of traceability if you are using the software outside of our web browser or using our web browser. Your speed will be the same, and even all the traceability features will be the same here. Okay, but after you start a session or even retrieve a password like I showed it to you, like I said, we can use our vote to rotate the passwords, okay? A key differential about us regarding this point is that different than the other competitors, that if you need to rotate a password, for example, and you don't have the connector inside the solution, you must have a background of development to create a new connector and then compile, download it, import to the feature. Okay, it will be a very hard work. But using senhasegura is quite easy, okay? You can create your own template here using the language that you have in your application. We're gonna send you over than 100 out-of-the-box templates for almost any kind of technology here. But if you have some kind of specific technology in your environment, you just have to click here on New. You're gonna see some kind of variables that you have in your environment to use this on the templates, and you will be able to use the language of your application here. So if you are trying to rotate a password from a Cisco switch, for example, okay, you don't need to have any kind of background in development, because we know that when you have a guy that works with infrastructure, it's kindly hard to know someone that knows how to programming and to work with infrastructure. But obviously he will know what type the commands that they will have to type to change password inside a Cisco environment. So our technology is able to read the output of the command, interact with the terminal to type some command, read the output, type the next command until change or rotate the password, okay? The same for any kind of technology here, even HTTP or HTTPS environments, because we are able to read the content of the page and to fulfill the fields with password or the new password that the vote will automatically generate itself. All those passwords must follow some rules, like password strength, so you can determine how many characters you're going to use here, lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and symbols, and the vote is able to deal with up to 256 different characters here inside the same password. Okay, we have several dashboards in our solution too, regarding the password change status. So you will be able to see how many passwords you are managing, if you have some problem with some of them, if you have some of them that are expired, you can click here and drill down on the password that is with some kind of problem. We have the threat radar, like I show it to you. You can see everything that is running right now, or even historical data. We have behavior analysis here too. So one of the companies that belongs to the same economic group that senhasegura is able to deal with artificial intelligence. So our vote is analyzing all the user behavior here to determine if something wrong is occurring, like unusual origin of access, or even unusual credential, or unusual time, or even location. And the vote is able to block the session or even block the user and inform you using CM technologies or even screen pop-ups that something wrong is occurring right now. And the last function is our reports here. We have several reports about traceability. So everything that you are doing on the vault is being recorded. Every single click, all the sessions, everything that you change here will be recorded on the vault. You are not able to delete any kind of logs, and even you will not be able to delete some kind of credentials or devices for traceability reasons. So everything will be logged here, and up to 1,000 days, we can keep any kind of log in that solution. Okay, guys, I think that I cover almost all the points regarding the most common use cases about PAM, and this is it. I don't know if you have any questions about our solution, architecture, or technology. I will be glad to reply you if you have any questions regarding that.
Okay, so gentlemen, do you have any questions? Or we're good? Okay. Dan, I think we're very, very good. It was actually a very concise demo and presentation, and I'm sure that probably once we are through, I'm already even getting some feedback from some people that they will also want to have a personalized demo into their environment and discovery. So thank you very much. But if there are any other further needs or requirements, I definitely will get back to you on that. Okay. So thank you very, very, very much. I think at this point we have been able to cover everything. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being able to grace our event, even though I know that we're not as much as we wanted due to a lot of unplanned circumstances, the country, traffic, the rain and everything. So I want to thank you very much. I would personally be reaching out to everybody for, some people have already indicated that they are looking for some personalized demos. And I'll also be reaching out to most of you to see how we can actually set up. And probably Daniel will take us through more personalized demo into your own environment. And we can see how the senhasegura or the senhasegura solution will be able to help you to be able to build more of your digital sovereignty. So thank you very much, Dan. I don't know whether Vinny is still online. I think he's gone off. Yeah, so thank you very much, Daniel. It was a pleasure. And gentlemen, I think let me find out whether lunch is ready, so we can have lunch, and after that we can also discuss. So thank you very much once again for having us. Daniel, thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, guys. Have a nice day and a nice weekend.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Gentlemen, that we just find out. Someone? It's ready.